Okay, gents, another thing I've been doing alongside full metal jacket testing is some primer testing, and this is what I have on hand for the time being. We have Winchester 41s on the first row, CCI 41s on the second, and Remington 7.5s, or 7.5 rather, I should say, on the final row down here. All of these are shot with Bob's bullets with Exterminator, rather Ramshot Exterminator, going from 35 grains to 24.7 grains. Also, these are shot out of my Shaw Custom Barrel, which is a 20-inch rifle-length gas system with a stainless steel barrel and a 24 power scope. Right, moving ahead. So for the first two groups, you'll notice that there's 2 shots in B, 4 shots in A. That's because I'm so used to doing 5-shot groups that I forgot I was doing 3, and so I accidentally squeezed off 1 down in the first group. This one right here, this should be over here in the second group. So from group 1 to group 2, things overall tighten up, but there is a slight shift to the point of impact. Group 3, which is A over here under 24.1, we see a shift up. Otherwise, the group size stays approximately the same. We have a shift down, maybe a little bit more to the right, but this is the trend that we see. The fourth group generally is pretty good. Not always, but more on that later. And then the fifth group goes back up a little bit and opens up a little bit. CCI 41s seem to be overall, I would say, a little bit more stable. We start off towards the left and then we kind of move towards the middle. Group 2 is pretty tight. Group 3 opens up. Group 4, I think, is actually the best group of the day. However, it's very horizontal, although only 3 shots. And there's a huge shift upwards in the point of impact. When we get to our final charge, 24.7, which is not the maximum charge, it's a little bit below max. This is still about 3,200 feet per second. Things come down a little bit, but the group size stays approximately the same. Remington 7.5s are interesting because our first group is definitely pretty bad. We have this diagonalness there that I just don't trust. I just don't like seeing this. Group 2, suddenly, we have 2 overlapping shots with our third shot over there, and this horizontalness that we see does seem to be a trend because as we go up the next 2 steps, we do see some repeated horizontalness, and also the point of impact is going up. However, notice this. Group 3 goes to the left, group 4 goes to the upper right. The last group continues a little bit to the right, but also we have the inclusion of this verticality there. So it's kind of interesting. Like when I first saw 7.5, I was like, this I think is probably the worst overall. Looking back over it, it almost looks a little bit more gradual as we go from one scatter node kind of into another one, because it starts off terrible and ends kind of terrible. All relative, of course. But yeah, there we go. There's a short little primer test for you guys.